I would want to come straight on to this question of innate. What is innate as opposed to what's learned? And the truth is, we don't absolutely know, because no one has ever grown up in a society that is completely free of gender stereotypes. You know, even the most gender equal countries in the world, and New Zealand is happily one of them, people aren't growing up in an environment free of stereotypes. So the best, sort of neuroscience tells us that there's not some innate difference in men and women's brains, which would say that they're going to have different leadership styles. But there is all of the years of socialisation. And then there's all of the stereotyping that I went to before, how we see leaders. And, you know, if we were going to snapshot that, and of course, when you snapshot it, you're always putting it in pretty stark terms, and it's not as simple as this, but I think these snapshots help us think it through. You know, we are fine if men are ambitious for self. If a man says, you know, I want to be Prime Minister one day, or CEO, or whatever, people will go, that's fine. We expect women to be ambitious for others, which is why you don't hear women in politics say, you know, I got into politics because I want to be Prime Minister. They don't say that. What they say is that they were motivated around an issue, motivated around their concerns for others, and that's what got them into politics. And I'm not saying that they're making that up, you know, that is sort of a false narrative to cover over their deep personal ambition. But we're all shaped by the environment we live and work in. And I think intuitively, women come to know that it's that kind of answer that people want to hear. And then I think intuitively, and this was borne out in the book when we interviewed women, women know that they're on this kind of tightrope between strength and empathy. That a man who is a strong go-getter might still get consent to be a political leader. People might vote for him. But a woman, to get approval, has to come across as strong, but also empathetic. And if she falls one side of the line and she's too tough, people will go, oh, she seems pretty unlikable. If she falls the other side of the line and she's too kind, people will say, oh, she's absolutely lovely, but she doesn't have what it takes to be a leader. And these stereotypes get used. You know, there's a reason why the first criticism that President Trump uttered of Kamala Harris when she'd been selected to be the vice presidential candidate was, she's nasty, no one likes her. You know, that was him intuitively, I think. I don't think he's a big reader of gender research, but him intuitively channeling a stereotype that he thought people would respond to, that she's an ambitious woman, she's a nasty woman, she cares about herself, she doesn't care about others. So I think all of that is swirling around the question you've asked us. You know, in terms of what is the best leadership style, my answer to that is it depends. You know, there is still a role for command and control leadership. If you are in an absolute emergency, you know, fighting a raging bushfire in Australia during our summer season, there's a reason why there is strong command and control from the incident commander through to the front lines who are fighting that fire. That's an appropriate model of leadership for that situation. Happily, most of us don't have to deal with that kind of urgent situation all day, every day. And so a better style of leadership generally is one that values the team, that brings people together, that is consultative, that gets the best out of people. And I think most women leaders do want to lead like that. But democracies do, at the end of the day, create Judgment Day. And Judgment Day is an adversarial moment where it's, you know, her or it's him, or in the rare situation, and Helen was in one of these where it's two women against each other, it's her or it's her. It can't be both of them. Even if they really liked and respected each other, there's no room for them to form a collective prime ministership. That's not how the system works. You pick one or you pick the other. And so even leaders who amongst their closest team will lead with strength and empathy and consultation and all the rest of it, in a democracy, it will come down to a pretty adversarial interplay because of the way our systems work. Now, that throws up a whole lot of questions about, could our systems work differently? Are there other ways of structuring democracies? Could we restructure parliaments to put more of a emphasis on collaboration rather than question times and competition? And there's a whole deep set of questions there to work through. And I think in this age where we need to do so much democratic renewal because people have lost faith in democracies, those big questions we should be working through, not just because they matter from a gender perspective, but because they matter for the future of democracies.